You tell me after 15 days of no food and body heat, you don't eventually just bone even by accident?
Welcome to SinCast, presented by CinemaSins.
This episode of SinCast is brought to you by Mubi, a curated online cinema streaming exceptional films from around the globe. Each day, Mubi introduces a new gem, and you have 1 month to watch it. From cult classics to acclaimed masterpieces, every film is hand-selected by experts. Try Mubi free for 30 days at mubi.com/cinemasins. That's mubi.com/cinemasins for your extended free trial. All right, everybody, welcome to the SinCast. This is Chris Atkinson from CinemaSins, joined as always by the voice of CinemaSins, Jeremy Scott.
Sir, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
I watched Full Metal Jacket the other day.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
You feel still the same way about it?
Yeah, it's not. I've never been super fond of it. I enjoy the first hour more than the second hour, but I don't love any of it.
What is the line? You look like a guy who would fuck a guy's ass without having the courtesy to give him a reach around.
Yeah.
I like the scene where he makes him eat the donut, and then everybody else has to do push-ups. And he's like, they're paying for it, you eat it.
Yeah.
He shoves it in his mouth.
Yeah.
That was a way to open.
That is.
Sorry.
No, it's totally my fault. I asked what he thought about it. And then for music video sins, Barrett Share.
10 Hut.
Hey,
There's an officer on deck.
That's right.
I hate that ending of A Few Good Men so much.
Yeah.
It's not honest. It's not true to the rest of the movie. Like, he does this
Couldn't
whole
he
thing
have
about
just saluted him and that meant the same thing?
Yes. And like, yeah, I understand that he's not an officer and he puts his hand in his pockets and all that stuff, but it's so fucking cheesy. By the way, Lieutenant Weinberg disappears from that last thing. Like, there's this glamour shot about, like, you know, the family walks out, and then Downey walks out, and then Demi Moore walks out. Fucking Weinberg just disappears. Because I was looking for, I was like, oh, Sam's still there, right? Mm-hmm. And then fucking Kevin Bacon walks out, and he's poof. Yeah. You, Lieutenant Weinberg!
Yeah. That's never going to not stand out to me now after you called it, because it's so weird. Like, why he could have pointed to somebody in the fifth row and said, "You, Mrs. Brown," and it would have been just the same.
Crack up every time.
I guess he technically wasn't there during that last scene, maybe, and they had money issues or something. Who knows? I don't know.
Oh, maybe not. I guess so, because they have that nice little pan across when they're reading the verdict and all that.
Or is it just that he's there and he just didn't make the footage?
Oh, wait. No. I was going to say, he comes in with the airman from the other airfield.
No,
he goes back to the seat that he
he's there because when they read the verdict, it pans across Tom Cruise and Demi Moore and him, and then to Dawson and Downey. Anyway.
Yeah. We're going to go back on our road trip today.
Road trip.
On the road again. The most time-honored tradition of all, the road trip. Oh, the places you'll go.
Are we there yet?
No.
Are we there yet?
No.
Are we there yet?
No.
It'll be part 3, final part of Texas.
That's right. Spent some time in Texas.
Yes,
Shotgun
indeed.
Bang. How does it hang? What's
Yes.
up with that thing? I want to know, how does it hang?
That's the new Kid Rock, right?
No, it's a song from like the 90s, or it's like a Queen Latifah song. Shotgun bang. What's up with that thing? I want to know, how does it hang? Straight up. Wait, it might be Salt and Pepper. Type it in.
Yeah.
Shotgun bang. What's up with that thing? I'm not crazy.
No, we believe you.
Barrett. I believe you believe me. I don't believe Barrett believes me. He's giving me a look. Like my music references aren't on
It is
point.
Salt and Pepper.
There we go. Shotgun bang.
It's
What's
Shoop.
up with that thing? I want to know, how does it hang?
It's from Shoop.
Which means it's from Deadpool. Awesome. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, there you go.
Salt and Pepper were fine, man.
They weren't bad.
Indeed.
I liked their MC.
Spinderella?
I actually am really glad you knew the name, because I didn't remember the name, but I did like the MC.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay, so on to part 3 of Texas. We'll start off on our alphanumeric list with the Alamo.
Yeah, so this is the rest of the detritus of the cities that we haven't covered. We covered Austin and then like Texas at large, but this is Dallas, Houston,
San Antone?
and San Antone. Yes,
I remember the Alamo.
Have you ever been?
No.
I have been to the Alamo, and first of all, it's just a wall now, a front-facing wall, and it's tiny.
Yeah?
What happened
It's so
to
tiny.
the Alamo?
I think they knocked some of it down, most of
Why?
it down. I don't know,
Pee-wee went there.
to get to the basement.
I've heard San Antonio is a lovely city.
San Antonio is a great city.
Yeah, I'd like
it's
to get down there.
There's a river walk. There's the river running through it, and they've got like they've got like shops and restaurants and stuff like that built up around it. And you follow that down, and you end up at the Alamo. So I was like, oh, cool, it's the Alamo, and it was like a miniature version of the Alamo. But by the way, this movie I kind of like.
Is this Dennis Quaid?
Yeah, this is Dennis Quaid, Billy Bob, and Jason Patric.
Isn't it the same guy who directed The Rookie too?
It might be. I only saw this.
John Lee Hancock, I think, is his name.
That sounds right. Maybe he and Dennis Quaid have like a personal relationship.
Yeah, John Lee Hancock.
I didn't hate this movie, but it came on the heels of better movies for me, like The Patriot. But I only watched it the once. I can't really speak with authority on it.
Yeah, it's good. This is actually a really good Billy Bob Thornton performance because he's
Davy
playing
Crockett,
Davy Crockett.
right?
Yeah, and as I said before when we were talking about the Ballad of Davy Crockett or whatever the name of the movie was, Davy Crockett was a badass. Like he was a senator for a while, and then like he was just so into battling and stuff like that he showed up at the Alamo. Yeah, and so Billy Bob plays him as a badass, and I like it. I like it. It's a good movie.
I've never seen it. I heard just like average or blah things about it, so I never sought it out.
It's not spectacular, but it's a very good retelling. I mean, everybody's heard about the Alamo and Santa Ana and all that stuff, but it's cool the way that they do it. Jason Patrick sighting?
Yeah. The next one is a big one, Apollo 13. Houston, we have a problem, of course, and you know what? I bet people in Houston are tired of hearing that as Kansas people are hearing we're not in Kansas anymore.
I bet
that's true.
Houston, we have a problem has been said on just about everything involving Houston whenever there's a problem of some sort there. Like the Houston Astros aren't playing very well. Houston, we have a problem.
I'm pretty sure every single day it's the main headline on the front page of the newspaper.
Yeah.
Houston, we have a. It's just the contents of the story are always different. Sometimes it's a political fracas.
Right.
Sometimes it's infrastructure
they
and
have
transit.
to use like different colors and stuff so that you know that it's a different day.
They have like threat levels for Houston. We have a problem. If it's orange, it's a big ass problem.
Yeah.
If it's green, it's just some guy can't get his dick hard.
Yeah, exactly. Tommy in sales can't get his dick hard.
Area man
limp.
That's like one of those those. The Onion always has those like just headlines, and that's the area man limp.
Says Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah, exactly. Aside from that, though, Apollo 13 is excellent. It's Ron Howard's best movie.
Yes.
It takes a situation where you know the outcome and makes it tense as fuck, but it also is smart as fuck too, and it's because the people back then were smart as fuck. But just the way that they solve problems is very, very entertaining to me. Like how they have, okay, this is what they have on the shuttle. Can we make air filters out of this? You know, stuff like that. And just all the little problems. I love how they keep comparing the shuttle's power to like a coffee maker or, that's about how much they're running on right now.
Yeah.
And you're talking about space. And it's like, they're just running on something as small as a coffee maker. Anyway, Apollo 13's awesome.
Yeah, it rules. It rules hard, especially when the ghosts happen.
Yes.
I'm joking. There's no ghosts in that.
Yeah,
movie.
there's
Space ghosts.
There's a what is it just called Apollo? Is it Apollo 5 or 6?
Yes. Yeah, that's what I must have been thinking
yeah,
about.
because there's a
I know what you're talking
18.
about. Yeah,
Apollo 18.
Apollo 18.
It's a found footage
Oh,
thing,
it's a
isn't
piece
it?
of shit.
Is it really?
Yeah. Yeah, it is a found footage. It is a found footage thing, and like, it's awful. I was so excited for that movie too. But anyway, Apollo 13, it still has that just great, like, I don't think that their re-entry was nearly as dramatic as the movie makes it out to be. I think it was like pretty much like, it came through. But just like in Argo, they decided to make, that last scene super tense or whatever.
It is super tense.
But if we're living in these hyper-realized worlds when we're doing adaptations and stuff like that, that scene is one of my favorites of all time, just because there's so many cuts to all the characters who are all in anticipation of this shuttle coming down. And the fact that if it goes too long, it means they've burned up in re-entry and all that. But there's that one shot with that great James Horner score going on. That one shot of the entire space control just watching at watching screens and everything, and just the one thing of Ed Harris like sitting there going, Houston, blah blah blah, are you there? And just over and over and over. I love Ed Harris in this movie.
Yeah.
He's, everybody's like pretty much like written him off, the business guys have and everything. And, he's like, oh, it's going to be a disaster. He's like, excuse me, sir. I think this is going to be our finest hour.
Yeah.
and just like all the times people are like, we can't do this and all that. He's like, God damn it. I want to, Ed Harris, like you're going to go to the wall for that guy.
You know what? Ed Harris has had a sneaky, like, amazing Cecil B. DeMille award-winning career,
Yeah.
Has he ever gotten an Oscar?
I think for Pollock.
Oh, that sounds right.
I think he won for Pollock.
But yeah, like he's been in amazing movies, and he's been amazing in movies, too.
Yes.
A lot.
Yes.
I mean, Jesus
he's
Christ.
been nominated for 4. He's never won one.
Yeah, I mean...
he was nominated for this, too.
Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross, The Abyss, Apollo 13, Truman Show, Pollock, Beautiful Mind. He's really good in that.
The Rock.
The Hour, The History of Violence.
Yeah. The Rock. Yeah.
Hey, man, he was a wronged Marine.
He was. But yeah, everybody in this is fun. Like Bill Paxton's fun. I mean, he's sick most of the time when he's in the. But I just love that part where he's like, they're like, where Hanks is like, I'm gonna eat something, and Paxton's like, oh, I'm hungry. And he's like, you want to eat too? And he's like, man, I could eat the ass out of a dead rhinoceros.
Oh my God. Didn't he get the clap or something like that?
No, he was just sick. Yeah, it was something like measles or something. But he makes a joke that Jack Swigert, Kevin Bacon's character, gave him the clap because Swigert apparently had this reputation of like having women everywhere, and so yeah, like they did this big health check thing before they went up. And they declared Ken Mattingly, the Gary Sinise character, these are real people. They declared him like not fit to go.
It's amazing how this story unfolds, though, and how, because obviously it's based in reality, but like how things went terribly wrong but had to go terribly right. Like him being on the ground to be able to have that experience to say like this is exactly how it's going to go. Mm-hmm. That's so good. Gets me every time. I
don't know, maybe it's just my thing. I just like puzzle solving. Mm-hmm. I like seeing it being done in a smart way. And even though this was real life, nobody conjured this on their own as a screenwriter or anything. It's so fun to watch on a movie to see people reasoning out and figuring things out rather than just, oh, that sounds like this, and it turns out to be right.
Yep.
And so like I really, really appreciate that about this movie. Really good.
It's a great episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation on yesterday that kind of deals with this, because Data and Geordi go into the holodeck because they want to do a Sherlock Holmes mystery, and they dress up Data's Sherlock Holmes and Geordi's Watson, and they go in and like they're in this London street, and then it's so authentic, whatever it is, and then Data solves the murder in like 20 seconds because he's memorized every single Sherlock Holmes story, and Geordi's like, that's not solving a mystery. You came to the conclusion because it was in your data banks, and then they ask the computer to create an opponent that could defeat Data. And it makes Moriarty strong enough to take up the whole Enterprise. And he basically takes control of the Enterprise because instead of saying a villain that could defeat Sherlock Holmes, he said, I need a villain that can defeat Data as an android. And then it gets freaky deaky. But anyway, yeah, the idea of like solving a mystery versus just having it explained to you. Yeah. Kind of what connected that.
Like Apollo 13 could have been super shitty if they said, well, the engineers figured it out, and
exactly. Good job, guys.
Yeah, they built some contraptions with some shit that's on the ship. Then we have Armageddon.
Talk about a realistic space movie.
Yeah, my God, this one gets me every time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Fuck this movie.
Yeah.
And yes, cult status now, people ironically liking it, unironically liking it.
Yeah.
Fuck this, fuck every part. air with my dick.
By the way, everybody, this is the guy last week who went to bat for Varsity Blues.
Apples and oranges, dude.
I know, you're right. I agree in this case, though. This movie is hot garbage, and I liked it.
Did you really?
When it came out in 1998.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I was a deep impactor.
Well, I would
I was team deep impact.
Yeah.
I was a deep impactor too. All right. I could tell you details about that movie that would blow your mind.
Yes.
But I still liked Armageddon. I liked Independence Day. I look back 20 years later, I think they're both a hot mess.
Even Independence Day?
Yes.
See, that's different to me. I don't know. This movie is so aggressively, this is the epitome, I think, of everything that's terrible about Michael Bay thrown into, a garbage disposal and just spun out of control. In The Rock, it was somewhat grounded in some sort of comedy and zaniness. And Bad Boys, it was the charisma of the two leads and everything. This is just all kinds of a mess.
Yeah, I hated this movie from the get-go. I do see what people are seeing in it these days because they focus more on all the funny stuff that these guys do instead of the actual to me it's all noise. I don't really care. They went to a strip club, hilarious.
Yep.
But it's never been that. It's never been a movie for me. Never.
Mm-hmm.
It's just Bay just he made the movie that he wanted to make. So
I guess so.
So that's where I sort of fall in that. He made exactly the movie he wanted to make. I hate it, but he definitely played to his audience, and that's what you need to do a lot of times.
Yeah, fuck it.
I just liked. I thought Billy Bob was fun. Owen Wilson was fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
No, I don't like the movie anymore, but I did. I did when I first saw it.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about how Deep Impactor could, anal sex.
Right.
Hey, you stay away from my Wolf Biederman.
What is the thing in Training Day where it's you ever had your shit pushed in?
Oh, yeah, exactly. You did.
You're so busy laughing about that, you didn't even notice that I named the comet from that movie.
Deep Impact,
show.
yes.
Yeah.
No, I know, yeah.
That should be
I watch that
some
movie
acknowledgement.
maybe once a month.
Wolf Biederman. Who knows that? Who knows that? I know that.
I haven't seen...
Which one is Wolf and which one is Biederman?
Biederman is the kid. Wolf is the man.
You're right. Yeah.
I know I'm right.
I haven't seen Deep Impact since it came out.
It's not all that
It's not
great,
worth watching.
No.
It's better than fucking Armageddon, though.
Yeah, and for that fact alone, I've probably seen it a dozen times.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Deep Impact is more realistic.
Yeah.
We're not gonna.
First time that's ever been said.
Oh my God!
Hey, what are the chances that we could train a bunch of oil riggers to go into space and navigate an asteroid?
He's the only
They should
man.
be dead 10 times. In this
Yeah,
movie.
they should.
We need to get the world's best deep core drillers.
Yeah. Yes. There certainly should have been better ways of destroying that asteroid.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like aliens are attacking. It turns out they're shaped like Alaskan king crabs. Bring me the cast of Deadliest Catch.
Yeah. Yeah, Armageddon sucks.
Well, we're almost through the A's.
Yeah, exactly. The Boy in the Plastic Bubble.
Ooh.
I've never seen this. Was this a TV movie?
No, it had a release.
Did it have a release?
Yeah.
Is this Stoltz?
No, this is
John
John
Travolta.
Travolta.
Oh, where George plays Trivial Pursuit with him while they wait for
It
Jerry.
is a TV movie.
Is it really?
Yeah. I've never seen this though. So what have you got? What you've seen it?
I've never
It
seen
sure
it.
was made for TV. Look at that. Yeah, I saw it. I think it's based. Yeah, it's based on a true story where kid has an autoimmune issue. We've all heard it by now because at this point we've had a Seinfeld episode, we've had a Jake Gyllenhaal Bubble Boy movie, but this was the OG of Bubble Boy movies. It's fine.
And we had
this actually. came out before Grease, I think.
Yes. Yeah,
This
it
is
came out
76?
came out before Grease.
Gotcha.
Wow.
So this was in between Saturday Night Fever and Grease. And, it's fine.
Hey, I'm in the bubble.
Yeah.
What am I going to do?
Oh my God.
I'm in the bubble.
It's that South Park where Tom Cruise is in the closet
Yeah.
and like Travolta comes in. He's like, you got to come out of the closet. Oh my God.
Oh my God. It was ABC that it came out on.
ABC.
Yeah.
Then we have Dallas Buyers Club.
Oh, I saw this.
This was the McConaissance.
The McConaissance.
Yeah, when he had True Detective and he had this basically concurrently going on and ended up winning an Oscar.
Well, and he
for
did
this.
the massive weight loss for this role. And Jared Leto's in this too,
Jared
right?
Leto won the Oscar for this.
I remember liking it, but wondering why it was quite so beloved.
Well, I think it was beloved in award season because they always reward like drastic weight changes, right?
Well,
not always.
They do reward when someone goes through physical changes and stuff like that, and but I don't think that's an exclusive thing, really.
They're fantastic. Both of them are fantastic. In fact, this is the only time really that I've been able to stomach Jared Leto. And he was in character. He's method. He was in character the whole time. But he's this trans woman in this movie. And I think because he's playing such a different version of himself, that's the only way I can take some Jared Leto. I need some space between. I could see too much Jared Leto in the Joker or in the Blade Runner guy. You know?
Yeah, he's never really appealed to me all that much either. And then in this movie, he like really showed something.
Yeah.
It kind of goes to show, like, if you get certain people like Keanu Reeves and these guys, you get them in the right role, they can do.
I just pictured Keanu Reeves as Jared Leto.
Oh my God!
Oh,
yeah, clear case of not putting him in the right role.
This is. I mean, the content of this movie is hard to watch at the beginning, hard to watch at the end, and in the middle, it's uplifting and it's interesting.
It's also based on a true story.
Yep.
And, it illustrates how the healthcare system lets people slip through the cracks. And, I enjoyed watching it. I feel like when it came out that year, it was one of those 3 or 4 movies everyone was calling one of the best of the year. And by the time I got to watching it, I didn't quite see it as that. But I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too. I thought it was good.
Jennifer Garner's really good in this, too.
Yeah. Garner's having kind of a Garnaissance.
Garnaissance.
Yeah.
Garner is sneakily like showing up and being awesome in things, like sort of taking a detour from where she was before. Like she used to be like action star. Well, I guess Peppermint.
Peppermint was action-y.
Peppermint was a movie that wasn't really going away, but there's other stuff that she's been doing that she didn't do during the Alias years and everything like that. And wouldn't be surprised. Although, didn't we talk about Garner as possibly one of these people that might show up in something and get like an Oscar nomination or an Emmy?
I think she is on that short list. I've already put a few women on it now lately in Sins videos and podcasts of that deserves their own Sharp Objects or Big Little Lies.
She's got the
chops. I think she's going to get it, and she's going to kill it.
She's so good in Juno. I was watching that the other day.
Yeah.
She's fucking awesome in that.
And unfortunately, doesn't have very much like to do in that movie.
I know.
She's got only a couple of scenes, and it's funny too. In tangent, but Juno. It's funny like how you like where we sort of are supposed to, I guess, at first sympathize with this Jason Bateman character for a while, and we like him because he's so cool and everything, and then you start getting sort of a creepy vibe out of it and everything. It's rare when a character you don't see in the movie comes in and she's completely right about what's going on in this. Like it's rare for that to happen. Usually when you don't see that person, you're like, oh, what is up her ass or whatever. You're like, oh, she's completely right about this situation.
Yeah, because she's a caricature. She could have been a caricature of like this nebbish woman that just really wants a baby, and she's super serious. Like she's really like on board about this, and then and they don't get back together. I love that movie so much because his ass is out of there, and he's not redeemed at all.
Yeah,
and she's like, you know what? I'm doing this shit on my own.
Yeah,
God bless her.
Oh, yeah.
Good for her.
Then we have Dr. T and the Women.
Oh, Jesus.
This is like, I don't know how many. He did quite a few after this, I guess. Robert Altman did this one, and God, this is such a weird misfire of a movie. It's not an Altman movie for the first of all.
Yeah.
It's just so you have Richard Gere, I think it's Helen Hunt.
Dude, there's a lot of women of the women in this movie. Helen Hunt, Farrah Fawcett, Laura Dern, Shelley Long is his assistant. Kate Hudson and Liv Tyler, I think they're together.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize it was it was I'm so glad there's no cameras in here.
If we ever do one of those, oh my God, we're gonna be so self-conscious that some of that shit's not gonna happen.
Yep.
But they are together.
They're together. Yes. The only thing I remember about Dr. T and the Women is that he shows I don't know if it's a special effect. I guess it has to be, or unless they got some woman who was actually giving birth. And we just started waiting around like, all right, just tell us. They show an actual like head crowning through the vagina thing.
They sure do.
It's out there. Yeah.
Holy.
I wasn't, like Jay Baruchel in Knocked Up.
Yeah, yeah.
I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Did you ever see Ryan Stiles do his bit where he pretends to be being born?
Yes, it's fucking
One of
great.
the funniest fucking things I've ever seen.
But yeah, this was a weird one, even for Altman. I mean, if you may not get into the Altman aesthetic, but this one is really not him at all.
No, it's weird.
And it doesn't work on an Altman level. It doesn't work on a regular everyday movie level.
So weird, man. Like he did Popeye. Like it just makes weird choices every once in a while.
Doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
You could have gone. That's been the only thing worse.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Jesus. All right.
But that's what you're imagining, though.
Yeah.
Then we have a movie from last year, First Man, a movie that sort of got forgotten.
Totally forgotten.
I think, does this movie get more recognition if there isn't the stupid controversy about the showing the flag being planted, or is this movie forgotten anyway?
I don't know. I loved this movie.
Yeah, I did too, but I got the sense that there were people who decided they weren't going to watch it now.
I guess so.
And again, I think if those people had watched it, they wouldn't have even noticed that.
Right.
But I think some people decided not to, and so it didn't really have a momentum going for it. But it did. I mean, and it didn't do. I don't think it did well at all. Like it may have made like 30-40 million here, but it was completely forgotten. Then the Oscar nominations came out, and people were like, "Oh yeah, First Man, that should have gotten more love and everything."
I know, man, and screw that, because did you ever see this?
It's literally, I got it 3 days ago, and I almost watched it instead of the Super Bowl.
It's, you probably should have.
I probably should have.
Dude, seriously? That fucking Super Bowl, man.
That was the worst. I almost wanted it to be like because once he got into the third quarter, it's 3-3 or into the third quarter. I was like, this is just like almost like a solidarity thing of like, everybody's pushing through this game, seeing if we can get through this, masochism.
Yeah, kind of like the baby in Dr. T and the Women.
But then it ended up being awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, First Man.
First Man's great. There is a scene in First Man that is still one of the best of the year where it's no sound.
Oh,
and
God,
it's such a good scene, man. Like that was that's one of the tensest moments I've ever experienced in a movie theater.
Yeah, there's a couple of those moments in here. One that informs the other, actually. I feel like if this movie didn't try to cram that emotional beat, especially at the end in there, I think it would have been like almost perfect because Gosling is fantastic as this. You wouldn't think that he would be able to play such a straight-laced character. Claire Foy is fantastic in this. There's the scenes of their disagreements are some of the best dramas I've ever seen, on par with the dinner scene in La La Land with Emma Stone.
Well,
and
I'm
Ryan
anxious
Gosling.
to see it. I will have seen it by the time we record our year in review. It's pretty high on my
It's
list.
awesome. It's awesome.
By the way, we talked on a recent episode. We debated whether or not that Lizzie movie had come and gone. I got the Blu-ray in the mail the other day, so it came and went.
First Man's got a lot of the elements of the right stuff. It's just that it's just I guess it's a shorter movie.
It is also a big old troll job on Buzz Aldrin.
No, yeah, it does. Yeah.
I mean, though, what do you think about this title, though? Having not seen the movie, maybe it's perfect.
It's shitty.
Okay, because from the outside, I don't like it as a title.
No,
and I'm
it's
going to
not
confuse
good.
it in a few
No,
years with
yeah.
that Michael Cera, Jack Black Year One movie.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah. And
Wow.
you know that there's probably some movie called The First Man that's about
Yep.
cavemen and shit. I mean, there's, I know that there are very few titles out there anymore, but don't name something simply with two common words and expect to stand out in
Yep.
any way.
yeah.
And that's what we keep getting with all these single title or 2-word title things they expect that their star power will somehow overcome that, but it became a forgotten memory as soon as it came out, and it's a shame because the movie's really good.
Yes, it is.
Then we have Frailty.
Oh wow.
This is I still don't know what I feel about this movie.
It's a mind fuck.
Yeah, it is.
I love this movie.
I loved it.
I say I like it, but I have not seen it since it came out, and this was like 2002, 2001.
Yeah, right around there. This Bill Paxton directed this, right?
Bill Paxton directed. He's in it. Matthew McConaughey's in it.
Yeah. Powers Booth.
Powers Booth, of course. Anything Texas has got to have those guys in it, like that. Yeah, it's about a man and his 2 kids, and they keep stumbling on these clues or something, right? Like
He is like a delusional guy, the dad is, and he's training his kids.
yeah, but they don't stumble on clues. But what I'm getting at is that there's a point I'll never forget because I watched this with Jonathan. There's a point where he thinks that these gloves are important. The gloves are important, and there's something else with the gloves, and I can't remember. It's been 17 years. But he goes through all this like, all this is useful or whatever, but I wonder what the gloves are for. And that Bill Paxton delivery. And we laughed about that line forever. Anyway, tell us what the movie really is about, because I haven't seen it in forever.
It's about so Bill Paxton is the dad to the 2 kids, and he's delusional and thinks that he's killing people who are demons. And obviously they're just people that he's killing. And he's training his kids to do the same thing, basically brainwashing them. And so that's in the past day. In the present day, it's McConaughey that comes up to Powers Booth, who's like an FBI guy or something like that, and starts telling him the story. He's like, my brother's...
McConaughey's one of the kids.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's the older version of that. And he's like, my brother has been brainwashed. My dad committed all these atrocities. My brother did too. I have not, but I'm going to tell you my story. And then from there, it's a big old mindfuck.
It's like a better The Village.
It is, much better than The Village.
What is it with McConaughey and multi-generational crime dramas?
Yeah, I know.
Lone
know.
Star, Frailty,
Yeah.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Yeah, I know. The Wedding Plan.
The Lincoln commercials.
Yeah.
This is a very good movie. I would highly recommend
Me
it.
too.
Yeah, I probably would too, but I have not seen it in forever.
Do you have it? You probably have it, right?
I don't know. I don't know if I do have it or not.
Getting to that point, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is good. Well, I've got like duplicates of stuff.
Sure.
Like
You probably have 3 frailties.
You know what? Yeah, I probably have 3 frailties. I have, but like the shittiest thing that ever happened buying Blu-rays was that some obscure movies like Spawn and what else did we do recently? so I was like, oh shit, I'm going to have to buy those, and those might not even be on Blu-ray. And so I would get on Amazon, like, okay, all right. I guess there's a little bit of an upcharge for these movies that are hard to find. And I got Spawn, and that was one other one. It was the same month. And I got another one, and it came in, and I started cataloging them because I have a list. And I was like, oh, Spawn is on the list. And so is this other movie. So I ordered these two movies completely, and I just have copies now.
Nice. Hey, can I borrow Spawn?
Yes. Yes, you can. You can keep it.
You looking for some kindling?
Yeah.
But no, I don't know if I've got that one or not. But yes, it's possible that I do. See, yeah, and I think my memory's hazy too, because I kept thinking maybe I'm remembering this wrong. But when I thought remembering watching it that it was a question as to whether or not he was delusional or not, and that
yes,
yeah, and that that McConaughey just thought he was delusional, didn't. So that's true.
Correct. There's different things that are maybe true or not.
The mind fuck part is what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was what was confusing me about your description, was that I was like, oh wait, so he really do some high level murdering shit?
High level murdering. Yeah, there's a question about how reliable the narrator is, what the story actually is.
Now I'm definitely gonna watch this
movie. This movie's good.
Miss Congeniality.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Jesus. You didn't find the first one kind of charming?
No. I mean, Sandra Bullock always is. So like you could put her in just absolute trash, and and she's wonderful every time.
They have.
And this is
Magic. Like Bird Box.
Yeah, Practical Magic. Holy shit. God, Practical Magic is a piece of fucking terrible shit.
Yes, it is.
But Miss Congeniality, it's an undercover thing where she's going into some beauty pageant or something. Yep. I can't remember what the raid's on. I guess it's drugs or something.
I forget that.
I know.
It's Benjamin Bratt is like her partner, her guy.
Or cop watcher. Copy.
Cop rock.
I just remember TV lady. Candice Bergen and William Shatner.
Isn't Candice Bergen bad in that?
Yeah, she's like the pageant runner, and I think she ends up being Eve. I really don't remember. I saw it the one time, and I kind of didn't like myself for it.
Well, and the movie, that first movie, I think it was a moderate hit. I don't think it was a huge hit by any means. But they then made a sequel to it.
Yeah, Armed and Fabulous.
And that came out in, of course, 2005.
It made $212 million worldwide.
But what did it make domestic? 80?
$106 million.
Oh, so it was that's still solid.
Production budget was $45 million for that.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
But I didn't like it. But you know what? We're not the audience for Miss Congeniality.
I kind of am. I like this movie. I think it's adorable.
Jeremy and I are not the audience for Miss Congeniality.
It's not Shakespeare, but I thought it was adorable.
Yeah. Then we have North Dallas 40, the Nick Nolte football movie. Now I've seen this, but like we were talking about before, I have this confused with lots of other football movies. I've seen this, and I've seen both Longest Yards, and I don't remember what the fuck this movie's about.
This is the the fake version of the Dallas Cowboys. It was based on a book that had like an expose that the wide receiver wrote from the Cowboys back in the Don Meredith Coach Landry days.
Coach Landry days.
I want a T-shirt with this on it. It's actually it's like 70s football and all the sex, drugs, and all that stuff, and painkillers and booze and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and it's a fictionalized version, but I remember really, really liking it. It's been a while since I've seen it.
I remember liking it too. I don't remember a thing. I think I saw this on video maybe 15, 16 years ago, and I don't remember a thing about it. But I remember it being good.
Yep.
Holy shit, Powder.
Well,
Powder. So Powder is the movie directed by Victor Salva, who is known way more for other activities than movies. These days.
Yeah.
But that movie is it good?
No.
Like, there's people I know who love it, I think.
Those people are wrong.
They are wrong.
This movie is every cliche in the book. It could have gone straight to television.
Sean Patrick Flannery plays a guy who's like, is it albino or is it?
It's albino, but he's also a super genius.
Yes.
And he can summon electricity. Through his thing.
This is a prequel to John Travolta's Phenomenon. Did you ever see that movie?
Yeah, I saw
This is
that
basically
too.
that.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
It is basically that. I fucking hated this movie.
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yes. Maybe it's because the girl I took to this movie broke up with me shortly after this movie.
What?
Oh, man. That's not
Probably
cool.
for taking her to this movie.
Probably so.
It is a little silly.
But there's like, of course, there's bullies in this, and
Yes.
there's Jeff
So many
Goldblum.
There's Jeff Goldblum.
And,
Sunglasses.
yeah, sunglasses.
Feelings. There's some feelings.
Yeah.
This is a total aside, but at one point, our buddy who's bald, he's always got this goatee. And at one point, when we were working at the hospital, he fucked it up, so he had to shave off his whole face. And so a nurse that we work with made a joke that he looked like powder. And he got so pissed off.
Oh my God.
I think he called in for like a day or so.
Really?
Poor guy. Oh, nobody deserves that guy.
But does he have some sort of powers, right? That's because Jeff Goldblum at one point says something about like he had a terrible sex life, but now he's like fucking 4 times a day or something like that. Doesn't he say something like that?
He has like electrical spoon bending lightning something. I
Yeah.
really don't remember.
He's got this weird thing, because I remember there was a dude that shot a deer, and like he grabs the guy that shot the deer
Yeah.
and
Makes
like,
him feel what the
makes
deer
him
felt.
feel the deer, and
Right.
so the guy is like, "Oh shit, I'm not going to shoot deer."
Yeah.
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 I enjoyed this movie when it came out, but I was 15, 16, so I haven't seen it since.
This came out I think it came out right after Goldblum had done Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And there was this, and I don't think it quite, was it 95?
95, so
Yeah,
right before
95.
Independence Day.
So it was just before Independence Day. So yeah, it was one of those movies that, like, oh, Jeff Goldblum's back after Jurassic Park. And then this is the movie that he was in after that. Yeah. Then we have Reality Bites.
By the way, Jeff Goldblum is impossibly jacked for a mathematician in Jurassic Park. He's fucking like swole.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a mathematician.
I tell you what, I bet he knew he was going to have that scene, and he jacked himself up.
Which one?
The shirtless scene.
The shirtless scene in Jurassic Park.
I was just thinking about the other times where he had like his shirt unbuttoned down to his navel.
I thought that's exactly the scene you were talking about.
Yeah, no,
because,
he's over there doing like 40 push-ups.
yeah.
He's jacked. I'm sorry.
Anyway, Reality Bites. This was is this Ben Stiller's directorial debut?
There's one before this. Maybe the first feature.
No, I think it was his first one.
Yeah. I remember I did not watch this movie when it came out. Our theater had it. But I heard so many people say how shitty it was. So I never watched it. So it took me probably 7-8 more years before I actually did watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is good.
Yes.
This is 90s as fuck.
Yeah. This is if you want to explain a certain suburban white generation from the 90s, this is the movie that you should point to. Generation X.
There's not a movie that's more time capsule than Reality Bites.
It's fucking awesome. I love it. This is right injected into my dick. Like
Ow!
up the hole.
Ow! Ow!
Man.
I just saw this movie like a week ago.
Uh-huh.
No shit.
Did you like it?
I like it. I think it's too 90s. I don't think it's going to play as well 50 years from now.
Yeah.
Because I think it's going to be very hard to relate to these people. It kind of already is. Like Winona Ryder's character is almost impossible to relate to because she's just like motivated by almost nothing. Like
I mean that's true. It's
and that's
very
largely
slackerish.
true of the whole generation. I get that's sort of the point. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I don't think it's great,
Yeah.
but I like it.
In a way, though, it may also serve as a function as a comment on the 90s, too, because when Winona Ryder has this vision for this TV show or whatever, and then the big TV exec Ben Stiller plays, like goes in and helps her with it and everything, and it becomes this, you know, those 90s hyper weird
pizza.
hyper weird edited things where there's like a black and white shot, and then there's a color shot, and there's like, you know, and the in living color type stuff that's like going on in there, and it's you know, that's something that I think Ben Stiller had a really good grasp of, is how silly all that shit was back then. And that was the height of it, 1994.
Yeah, he's basically working for MTV, and they turned it into the real world.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the crux of the movie. It's funny because the older I get and I watch this movie, when I first saw it, I really related to Ethan Hawke's character and like, fuck the mainstream and I'm going to do what I want. And now I really relate to Ben Stiller's character because he really doesn't do anything wrong. He's not responsible for cutting that up. He's responsible for getting her film over to the MTV substitute. And he's a good dude.
This is also the film that they put on there too. Like, she didn't want certain things to get in that to be broadcast because they were real personal, right?
Yeah, because like the Janine Garofalo character has like an AIDS scare. And that was in there. Oh, and Steve Zahn comes out as gay.
Yeah, let's not forget about the fact that while this thing that they created skewers MTV 90s content perfectly, it's still an improvement. Like, she had some kind of fucking independent film that was going to say something just because she interviewed her friends and they had a thing. Like, that was hot garbage, and he at least made something out of it.
Isn't that weird?
That's true.
Isn't that weird? Like, that movie is definitely not trying to tell you that it's better for it, but it is.
It is. Yeah, that's why I'm saying that even though he doesn't have anything to do with getting that together, his character's perfectly fine.
But that's a perfect slam on the culture of my generation as well, that I'm just going to film some of my friends and I'm going to really believe I'm making art, man. I've got something with integrity here because my friends are smoking pot.
That's right. Yeah. Eating pizza. But it's got two great musical moments. It's got the My Sharona part in the convenience store. And I think the song is in the movie. It's not featured like that, but Stay, Lisa Loeb, I Missed You. And that song is like my happy place. That song in the video.
That video.
Her.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say they play the entirety of All I Want Is You by U2 off Rattle and Hum at the end of this movie. Oh, it's like 8 minutes long. Yeah. Where the whole fucking song plays, even that part at the end where there's all that feedback and the strings. Doom, 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 doom.
Awesome.
The whole thing plays. It's great.
Yeah. Lisa Loeb, at one point, I remember her being on I don't know if it was a show or if it was just a thing that she was doing. Like, she was having a hard time finding a boyfriend.
It's a VH1 reality show.
Oh, it was a reality show.
She was trying to find a date.
Did she end up with anybody in that show?
I didn't watch it.
Like,
I think
she ended up getting married, but I don't think due to that show. But it was close around that show.
God, she's so pretty.
Yeah, she's a cutie.
And I love that song so much.
Mm-hmm.
I like her follow-up. Do you eat, sleep? Do you eat, sleep, dream? Do you sleep, dream, eat?
Oh, I remember that song.
I'm botching it, but that's the only song. I
like that song too.
Other than Stay, that's the only other one I remember her releasing.
Then we have The Reluctant Astronaut. I've never seen this. Don Knotts movie, huh?
You've seen this, haven't you?
Yes. I've seen it.
It's adorable.
It's okay.
I love me some Don Knotts. I think I love Private Eyes. I love Ghost and Mr. Chicken. Fucking
fuck. That was a great 1956 film.
Now I've like my memory of Don Knotts movies is Apple Dumpling Gang. He's like a janitor that gets on a space shuttle.
Okay.
As you do.
So it's like Gattaca with less ideas. Then we have Rollerball. Oh, the original Rollerball. Was the remake, was it? Do we know anything about the remake?
I don't think so. It wasn't on here, but they're the Houston Rollerballers or whatever.
I love Rollerball.
This was Norman Jewison directed this, right?
Yep.
This is a good movie?
As James Caan. Yes, it's a good movie because it's not just about a sport and people playing it. It's got some sci-fi ideas in it, like some dystopian ideas and stuff in it.
Because they're killing
dystopian
each other, right?
and stuff. Yes, they're killing people in it. But it's kind of like your precursor to The Running Man, I guess, where stuff like where stuff has gotten to the extreme where entertainment can only be, where, oh, well, you're actually killing people. That's great,
That's apparently what Survivor is this season, by the way. Have you seen the ads for Survivor?
No.
They're like, we're going to places we've never gone before. And they're like, showing like an empty beach and stuff like that. And I'm like, are they really going to start killing people?
That would be rad. But what they're actually going to do is try and like lean into more hardcore survival stuff. Probably they'll probably give them less food
and they'll be naked
because those bastards, those bastards on Survivor are pampered as hell.
They are.
And the show tries to edit it and such, but they got like a big canister of rice and shit. They don't have to worry about making fire. Whereas you go on Naked and Afraid, not only are you naked,
but you're also afraid.
Yes.
you're also afraid. You have to start your own fire. You got to catch there's no guy with a big tub of rice giving you rice. You got.
Do they ever show up with like both people have a knife or like both people have
they
a
coordinate well
thing?
enough behind the scenes to keep that from. They always have complimentary survival.
Right.
I've never seen anyone. I've got a machete. I also brought a machete. Fuck. let's fight. Some producer was like, "Oh, he's bringing a machete. You bring the fire starter."
When are they going to come out with Naked and Afraid Too Hot for TV?
Is there an uncensored version of it?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I mean, that basically
is this what you're
pornographic.
Yeah, there was a.
It wouldn't be pornographic though. It would just be. Like
I
watching a nature
guarantee you,
documentary.
some of those people have fucked.
You think? Seriously?
Are you kidding me? Like, have you ever seen the show for real? Because like
I've watched parts
every
of it.
other episode, there's an argument about body heat. You're not giving me enough body heat. You need to snuggle me more. I don't like to snuggle. We need body heat. We need body heat. You tell me after 15 days of no food and body heat, you don't eventually just bone even by accident?
You wake up and you're like, oh, I'm inside you. Sorry.
Yeah, I noticed.
Shit. Well, we were naked.
Might as well.
We were afraid.
Might as well go ahead with whatever we're doing here.
I guarantee you at least a couple of those contestants have
Wow.
fucked.
Now,
Especially like the first time.
To be fair, all of them have said they haven't, but
Well, yeah.
Have they really? They've actually like.
I don't know if all of them have, but I've read some articles where like people are like, you don't think of that type of stuff out there.
Yeah.
Because it's you are in a situation where there's mosquitoes biting you, you're dirty, everybody looks
Yeah, but there's also episodes where, like, I saw one just the other day where, like, the guy walked up and it cuts to, like, the girl's interview and she's like, oh, he's fine. I definitely like, okay, well, something's going to happen.
Eventually we're going to have like little thought bubbles showing up on there, like blind date.
Blind date.
But no, the reference Too Hot for TV is in itself outdated because they used to sell those Jerry Springer tapes.
Yeah, they did.
And they were too hot for TV because they would show the nudity that and all that, and I guess the swear words would get through. And
Jerry Springer, now a TV judge.
You have Too Hot for TV in there. Right?
Oh yeah, I got the whole collection. But no, going back to Rollerball.
Mm-hmm.
Rollerball is a great movie. I would highly recommend this one.
I've seen it. I just need to watch it
Not
again.
the remake. The remake I haven't seen. I've heard that it was garbage though. I had Chris Klein in it.
And was it LL Cool J was in
I
there?
think so.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's back in the 2000-2001 era where every action movie was like Fast and the Furious or what was the other ones? Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yeah.
All those movies were the same fucking movie. Rushmore.
Ooh, I did
you-
not realize this was Texas.
Dude, I've seen this movie probably 12 times or something like that. Did not realize that it's in Houston, but it's like a prep school in Houston. Did you realize this?
Did not.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
Rushmore is awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Is this still Wes Anderson's best movie?
Yes. Well, for me, it's either Fantastic Mr. Fox, Moonrise Kingdom, or this.
Oh, yeah.
Moonrise Kingdom is so good, but I think this is my favorite. Rushmore is because
Yeah.
Moonrise Kingdom is great, but it's so over stylized. Even
It
the
is.
dialogue
It
is
is.
so over stylized.
Yeah.
There's no like honest dialogue. In
No,
that.
it's a cartoon.
There's honest dialogue in
It's the
Rushmore. even though-
closest to reality of his movies, I think. Rushmore. Like, that feels
Yeah.
like a real
Yeah.
world. That
Yeah.
feels like the world I live in.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the rest of his movies don't.
Yeah, it's a weird world though.
Oh
Like
yeah,
everybody's.
there's some things in here that are like a little bit, off. Like, they're done as jokes, but
Right.
like the tree that he has that's going to set to fall on Bill Murray
Yeah.
doesn't fall. But he's like, I love that whole setup though. It's like I was gonna have that tree fall on you. It's like, oh, that would have smashed me like a pancake. He's like, why didn't you do it? well, what does it matter? She loves you. And he walks off and the tree falls down. And it's just a perfect encapsulation of the Max Fisher character to realize something hasn't gone right, but then come up with a completely different reason why, he didn't do it or why,
everything is so great in this movie. Bill Murray's so great. Olivia Williams, who hasn't been in a lot of stuff since, right? Or
no, she has, but she just hasn't been in a lot of high profile things. Okay. I believe, so The Postman came before this. But yeah, this might be her biggest high profile movie that
I guess so. She's been in a bunch of stuff.
Since after Rushmore.
The Sixth Sense.
Yeah, The Sixth Sense came out the same year, or was Rushmore at 98?
Rushmore's 98.
Yeah.
And then Sixth Sense.
Yeah, so Sixth Sense was the big one for her.
It did kind of feel like she was poised to be a bigger star.
Yeah. But
so good.
I don't know why that didn't happen because she is great. But yeah, Rushmore is great. Like, I don't know if there's anything this is one of the few movies we talk about where there's not very many or any at all bad things in it.
Oh, it's so great. I'm wondering, this was in the running for the best of 98. Of course, Jonathan was in that when we did the best of the years we've been alive, but Out of Sight won, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe going back, I would change my opinion. I think I enjoy watching Rushmore. I enjoy Rushmore more as a movie than I do Out of Sight. I love Out of Sight, but Rushmore just has so much to it.
Yeah.
It's one of a kind movie.
Yeah.
Never seen a movie like this.
But football in the groin has a football in the groin.
Yes. We can't recommend Rushmore highly enough. I think if you haven't seen that by now, you need to go out and watch it now.
Do it.
Space Cowboys.
Oh, Jesus
This
Christ.
fucking movie,
This came
man.
out in 2000 as well. Like like I said, man, there's just certain things about the year 2000 and 2001 that just there's just some fucking garbage action titles I don't know. This is not an awful movie.
I know.
But
I know.
it's you've got all these actors and this is all you came up with.
Yep.
So you have what? You have Clint Eastwood.
Uh-huh.
You have Tommy Lee Jones.
Yep.
James Garner.
Yep.
Donald Sutherland. And Eastwood is directing, right?
Eastwood's directing.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically 2 hours of I'm too old for this shit jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they get up. The premise is you guys are the only ones that understand this satellite's technology, and we need to get it fixed. So they send these guys up there, and it turns out it's a fucking missile satellite anyway.
Yeah.
And they decide they don't want to fix it. But what did you not know it was missiles when you were the expert on it 30 years ago when you were putting that shit up there? Like, the movie really angers me.
Yeah. I'm surprised I'm surprised you remember this much about that movie because
I must have just really
I don't remember a damn thing about this movie. God, what have I done with my life?
It's just them going through, it's just the old person, too old for this shit version of all the astronaut testing. So they put them in the gyro whatever, and there's a vomit pee joke or whatever.
Right.
It's not funny.
James Cromwell also is in this.
Yes.
Does he go up with them?
No, he's like ahead of
It's just
NASA.
the three of them go up, right?
I think all four of them go up.
Do they?
But Cromwell is like the NASA boss who was their equal back in the day and is now able to boss them around.
And then when they
But
get
they
back,
don't take his
he says, "That'll do."
Yes.
That'll do, pigs.
Because that's all.
That'll do, Space Cowboys.
That was all he did back in the day.
I actually just watched a bit of Star Trek First Contact this morning. He's so good at
I love that movie so much.
Yeah, he's so good.
Towelhead.
Oh, wow.
This movie is intense. Have you seen this?
I think I saw it once.
I don't think I have seen this.
Yeah, it's interesting. This girl, it's a coming of age story. Summer Bashir
Oh yeah,
is the character who's Lebanese American. I think Lebanese, and she goes to live in Texas with her super hyper protective father that won't engage with, won't let her do anything, and of course she rebels and everything. And then it takes some weird turns. Aaron Eckhart's in this. Toni Collette's in this. Maria Bello. And it's really good. And there's some really funny moments in there, but then there's some really
Alan Ball wrote and directed this.
Yeah. And it's not nearly as good as something like Under, 6 Feet Under. and American Beauty.
Yeah, and it was based on a book by Alicia Arian, who has an Egyptian father and an American mother. But yeah, I never saw this, so
It's good.
it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then there's Urban Cowboy.
Yeah.
This is more John Travolta.
Hey, I'm a cowboy.
I'm in the city.
I'm in a bubble.
Jesus, why didn't we have the career of John Travolta?
This movie's silly. It's like the redneck version of Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah, this is this all about bull riding?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I mean, it's their relationship. It's like saying Saturday Night Fever is only about dancing.
It's Travolta and Deborah Winger, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen this long time ago, and all I remember was there was some bull riding.
Yep.
And it's
mechanical bull riding.
mechanical
Yeah,
bull
yeah.
riding. Yeah. Deborah Winger does she have like a bad relationship and he comes in and saves the day, or is it?
Yes, I think she starts off with in a abusive relationship or whatever, and then they hang out at the same bar all the time, and they end up together. And I think there's some weird stuff like in Saturday Night Fever, like some real disturbing shit that happens, and it's a little more weighty than just bull riding and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
as
it's not very
movies
good.
back in the era were.
There was always a rape. There was always like
Yeah.
some intravenous drugs. It's fucked up.
Yeah, they never could just be like, let's have a happy ending. They had to damage everybody.
I know. It's not like let's make Coyote ugly.
Yeah.
Nothing happens in Coyote Ugly.
Finally on the Barrett Seen It list, Walker Texas Ranger Trial by Fire.
You've seen this shit?
Yeah,
That's a TV movie, right?
It is. I think it was CBS that aired this.
Chuck Norris.
Yeah, I used to watch Walker Texas Ranger.
Yeah.
It came on. I was working 3 to 11 shift at the hospital,
That's no excuse.
so I would wake up and TNT would be showing ER at 10, and then Walker Texas Ranger at 11, and I just was in bed and I just kept watching it. And he kicks a lot.
I bet he does. I bet he kicks more than he guns.
Do you remember the Walker Texas Ranger lever that Conan O'Brien would use?
No.
He would just like at an innocuous point in the show, he'd be like, well, it's time to bring out the Walker Texas Ranger lever. And like he would pull it, and it'd be all this anticipation, and then he'd finally go down, and it would cut to like this weird scene where Chuck Norris is like kicking an Indian or something like that in the face. It was
Did
Chuck Norris.
this happen towards the end of its run, or was
I think so.
it after the run? Because it had like what? It had like 10 seasons. or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Ran for a
Yeah.
good while. I think the TV movies were kind of towards the end when they were wrapping up.
Yeah, it's like what are those? Is it Jesse Stone made for TV movies that Tom Selleck made like 50 of?
I don't know.
Like-
I don't know.
Jesse Stone Into the Blue or something like that.
Oh shit. Okay, so Trial by Fire came out in 2005, 4 years after the series had ended.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but he also had, I guess he had some other Walker Texas Ranger movies that had come out. One was in 94. It's Walker Texas Ranger 3, Deadly Reunion.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. What kind of a reunion? A deadly.
Well, I don't know. I'll have to find out what part 2 was. Oh, I don't, I guess they're not called Walker Texas Ranger movies then, because IMDb only shows the series. It shows part 3, and it shows this one movie that doesn't have a number that came out way after.
That's fantastic.
So part 3 is a deadly reunion. Part 2 was a deadly first encounter.
Yes. Yes, it
They
was.
start. It's like Leonard Part 6. They start on the third one.
Yes. All right, so it's time to talk about Mubi again.
Mubi! It's been a long time, but we love these guys.
Mubi is slaying it right now.
They're really rocking the shit.
Yeah, they are. Some movies that you may be seen. One is Pie from Darren Aronofsky.
Mm-hmm.
You have But I'm a Cheerleader.
Yes, that movie's hilarious.
You have Buffalo 66.
Yes.
This is pre-Brown Bunny, Vincent Gallo.
Yeah, it's back when his movies were watchable.
Yes.
This is what's that Samuel L. Jackson guitar movie with Christina Ricci?
Black Snake Moan.
This is pre-Black Snake Moan and Christina Ricci.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, this was good Christina Ricci right here. You remember Buffalo 66?
I remember enough about it, but I haven't seen it
It's
since
such
forever.
a weird movie, but it's
It is.
delightful.
Yeah.
It's a
Vincent Gallo.
compelling watch.
Yeah, it really is. It's Vincent Gallo is an asshole, Probably playing like a bit of himself.
Yes, and then the Buffalo Bills kicker is involved. He's
Yes.
trying to kill the guy that missed the kick to wide right.
Yep, Scott Norwood. Well, they never say Scott Norwood.
No,
but
right.
They do say that it's the infamous Scott Norwood miss.
His full name is the infamous.
Yeah, yeah.
The reason that they're doing this, by the way, now we've talked about Mubi being like a gateway to experiencing different types of cinema, stuff that you're not normally exposed to. But the reason that we've seen a lot of like familiar movies that we're acquainted with is that they're doing a Sundance takeover to coincide with Sundance Film Festival. And man, this is just prime good stuff. You can watch the stuff that they're the American stuff that they're putting in there for Sundance, and then spread your wings and fly, because there's a lot of amazing stuff on
A lot of people talking on Twitter about Russian Doll, and that stars Natasha Lyonne. She's the star of But I'm a Cheerleader, which is on Mubi, and it's a great coming of age kind of a dramedy, I guess. I would give that a full recommend.
Yes.
The thing about Mubi though is that even though they have a Sundance thing going on, they're not tied to one thing.
Yep.
They give you a whole bunch of stuff. So they have 2 movies from Catherine Bigelow on here, including Near Dark is on there.
Yeah.
I had never seen Near Dark before, so I've now seen it thanks to Mubi.
Yep.
There's another one I saw on here, a documentary called Facing Ali. And there are a lot of Muhammad Ali documentaries and stuff out there. There's When We Were Kings and, things like that. This Facing Ali is fascinating.
Yeah.
It's really not so much about him. It doesn't follow him. It really is the boxers that fought him.
That's awesome.
And so each one of these guys, there's this like crusty old Brit, like from the 1960s or whatever, still alive. And he's talking about like how he fought Muhammad Ali when he was Cassius Clay. And when it was like, when he wasn't the fighter he would become and everything. But, he's like, one of the things that I can take out of the fight that I had with him is that he tells me that he says that I'm still the hardest punch that he's ever taken and all that. And then there's another guy in there. There's a Canadian boxer that's in there who sounds like he's from New York or whatever, but he talks about all this whole complicated set of circumstances that got him his fight with Ali, because Ali was supposed to fight somebody else, but that guy's promoter was gang involved or whatever. And somebody to not put a hit on him, but beat him up. And then and then because his promoter got beat up or whatever, they weren't able to get the fight together. So it ended up being this guy getting to fight him and everything. And each one takes some sort of you get some sort of new revelation about how Muhammad Ali fought. And that's one of the things we don't really hear much in these documentaries a lot of times. Yes, Muhammad Ali is one of the biggest characters of all time. Like, just is as much charisma as anyone has ever had on this earth. But that's all we get out of those a lot of times. I think those documentaries a lot of times are like, well, he's such an entertaining figure. And I have, for the longest time, wondered why he was such a good boxer. What made him a good boxer? Why was he the champ? I never understood that until, and Facing Ali goes a long way to telling us that.
That's awesome.
It doesn't go like completely. I'm still trying to figure out some things, but at least here I got to know what it meant to fight him and everything.
That's
and
awesome.
people were talking about how punches felt, and one said something like, one punch from this one boxer was like a Pontiac hitting you at high speed, and then this other punch was like a train hitting you at slow speed. And so like you're sitting there going, I don't know exactly what that means.
Right.
Like, but both of them are equally hurtful.
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
But,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
there's the fact that there's a difference is something I'd never thought of before. And that documentary is fascinating. Just watch it.
I'll tell you how much we love this service is Chris told me about this movie maybe like a month ago because he was watching it even before we knew that we were going to do, a few ads for Mubi here. We're still consuming it because it's amazing and really like diving into all the stuff that they've got, recently and in the past too. So it's awesome.
Yeah. What's the URL? Because we want you guys to come along with.
So Mubi.com/CinemaSins. You know how to spell our name. It's MUBI.com/CinemaSins. And you get
30 days free.
30 days free.
30 days free. That means you will be exposed to at least 60 titles over that time because every day a film leaves and another one comes on. And then, walk away. If you hate free awesome movies, no, listen. No, you're right. Don't walk away. But if you hate awesome movies, walk away. But you're not going to want to, because it's totally worth the very, very, very reasonable price. And we love it. And we have stayed customers of Mubi, all throughout, ever since we were exposed to them, basically. Yeah. And we us, we don't advertise for just any old Bob, Dick, or Harry who comes calling. We like to believe in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Mubi.com/CinemaSins 30-day free trial. What do you got to lose? Do it now.
Yeah, do it. Okay, so let's go down through the other one. Let's go down through the others here. Aces, Iron Eagle 2.
No. Lou Gossett, right? Was he in those?
Yeah, Louis Gossett Jr., I think, was in all of them.
Yeah, I think he was the through put.
The dude man who's like C. Thomas Howell.
Well, C. Thomas.
He's like discount C. Thomas Howell.
Well, who's the guy in the first one? What's his name? What's the...
There was a hot minute where he was going to be a thing.
Yeah,
I remember who you're talking
Jason
about.
Gedrick.
It's D. Williams.
Jason Gedrick is the guy. It's the guy they got when they couldn't get C. Thomas Howell.
There you go. Get me Spielbergo.
Yeah.
The Mexican equivalent of C. Thomas Howell.
He was in something else though. What was that? Jason Gedrick. Was he in Gremlins? He's got 87 credits on his name.
Wow.
That's probably more than C. Thomas Howell. Maybe C. Thomas Howell is the discount him.
Well, C. Thomas.
There you go.
Backdraft, Born on the 4th of July. No, he wasn't in the, he was an extra at the party in Risky Business. Okay. So, but he's in this too, but I don't think I ever saw the sequel. I saw the first one. I saw the first one. I didn't see any of the other ones.
I didn't either.
I think it gets all the way to at least 4, and Louis Gossett Jr.'s in all of them.
Steady income.
Then we have Ain't Them Body Saints.
No, they ain't.
Have you seen this?
I don't think so.
Right up your alley. Casey Affleck, Rooney Mara, Ben Foster.
I remember
Rami
this movie
Malek.
coming out. I haven't seen it.
What is the plot? Give me a descriptor. Give me a tagline. Give me a something.
Mara and Affleck are a couple who become involved in criminal activities and are caught, like a Bonnie and Clyde type of thing.
Oh, it does sound like something I'd enjoy. I like those people.
Yeah.
Then we have and starring Pancho Villa as himself, Antonio Banderas HBO movie.
Is that?
I've never seen that either. I remember that coming out too. Never seen it.
It's not exactly like Antonio Banderas is like. It's not like I'm like waiting with bated breath for his next project.
No, I'm not either. But like, I think he's a decent actor, though.
I think he's probably a better actor than his career suggests.
Yeah.
But lately, he's been making a lot of these biopics or the coal miner movie.
What's the coal miner movie?
The 30.
Oh, the one in
30,
Chile
30
or something
feet
like
underground.
that? Yeah. Oh, interesting. Yeah.
The Astronaut Farmer, Billy Bob movie. I have seen this.
His wife and kids are mad because instead of being a father, he spent all the time at the astronaut farm.
Yes.
He's literally a farmer that wants to be an astronaut.
I've actually seen this movie. He builds his own rocket.
Yeah, it's like, what is the other movie that somebody builds their own? Is it October Sky?
Yeah, October Sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he builds his own rocket to ride in this movie.
Interesting.
Like, he wants to be an astronaut, but he's not regulated.
But he's a farmer.
Am I the only one that's seen this?
Yes.
No, I've seen it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not talking out of my ass too far, am I?
I'm just saying that I remember him building his own ship. I remember him not being able to go for some stupid reason.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything else about it.
I don't either.
I just remember being like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, I'm of the opinion if somebody wants to build their own rocket and try to shoot themselves into space, we ought to let them do it.
Right?
I don't think we should stand in the way of that.
Yeah. The Bad Batch. I've never heard of this.
Yeah, it's just got an interesting cast.
Who's
Suki
the cast?
Waterhouse, Jason Momoa, Canoe, Jim Carrey,
Whoa.
Giovanni Ribisi,
Huh.
Diego Luna. It was 2016.
Awful.
Black comedy thriller.
You said 2016?
Mhm.
It must be terrible.
Yeah, I guess so.
There's a lot
I
of-
do remember that this was the first thing Jim Carrey had done in forever before he did that show. Have you seen that show, by the way?
No,
The
but
Mr.
I did
Rogers
watch
thing?
that fucking morose, like, Ukrainian murder mystery criminologist thing that he's in. Do you know what I'm talking about? I'm going to find it.
What was the thing that you were asking about?
TV show.
It's a Showtime series called Dr. Giggles or something like that. What is it? It's Michel Gondry, I think, is doing it.
I don't know. Dr. Giggles is that 1991-92 movie.
Dr. Giggles, I can't stop until it tickles.
So the
Just
show
play a
he's
little D
doing-
and I'll make your mouth dribble.
The show he's doing is called Kidding. I have not seen it. The movie I'm talking about It was called Dark Crimes. Came out in 2016, and it's a murder investigation of a slain businessman with clues found in an author's book. It was literally like snores on screen.
Whoa.
And a weird accent.
That's wild.
Jim Carrey doing like a weird kind of slightly Ukrainian.
Interesting.
And he's like, I'm in a bubble.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's called Kidding, and it's Michel Gondry is doing the directing. I actually want to see it, but
I haven't seen it.
Then we have Battle of the Sexes. That's the story of Billie Jean King versus Bobby Riggs.
Saw it. Didn't enjoy it much.
didn't like it.
It's interesting because I had heard of this before the movie came out, like a long time ago when Sports Illustrated came out with their like not so great moments in sports. And so like I had heard the background of this before I had seen the movie, and I didn't. I think I ended up liking the movie mainly because it filled in some gaps because I didn't know how such a match got. All it said was like Bobby Riggs challenged her to a match and she beat his ass, and that's pretty much it. I mean, it said more, but it's when I got to see the behind the scenes of it and everything. I mean, it's not a great movie by any means, but it's all right. And I think Emma Stone is probably not the right choice to play Billie Jean King.
Yeah.
I think she was looking for a role like that, and I think she's fine. I think this would have been a lot better if it had been like a lower budget HBO production instead of like a mainstream theatrical release. Nobody's really bad. It's just. I wasn't very super entertained.
Yeah. It may be hard to actually make a movie where there's an interesting premise to that, a man versus a woman and everything, but like everything around that is filler.
Well, especially because she only beats him because he doesn't take it seriously. He doesn't train. He's out of shape. Like, so the movie ends up basically making her heroic because she was a hard worker.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good quality, but I don't think even the history books are saying a woman beat a man on a totally even playing field. Like just last week, I saw Serena Williams give a whole interview about why she would lose to a man if she played him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And, so
the movie doesn't even like posit that she beat him.
No, the movie goes to great lengths to show his eccentricity and his lack of taking it seriously.
Plus,
even to the photo shoot, he's like, hey, he's posing with like large stuffed animals and shit. It's all a game to him because he thinks it's going to be a cakewalk.
It's not only, and I don't even know if he thought one way or the other. I think it was just publicity. The whole thing of it was trying to get some money or whatever, but because they show he has big gambling problem and all that. But the other thing about it too is that he's in his early 50s.
Yeah.
So I mean, and she's like 29 or something like that.
She was in her prime at that point.
Yeah, maybe any younger. Anyway, Big Bad Mama. Roger Corman, 1974 movie. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen much Corman. I've only seen Death Race.
Yeah.
And I should probably put more Roger Corman in my life, but I just...
is he good? Martin Lawrence is in this, right?
No.
Yes.
Is Roger Corman considered like a good filmmaker?
I don't think so. I think he's sort of like how Trauma sort of came out of nowhere in the 80s and everything. He was a guy who is legendary now because he came out with a sheer volume of movies. They were all B movies, basically. They all decided that they weren't going to be politically correct about things, and they were going to be just, very bare bones entertainment pieces.
Big.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then there's another guy who's known more for that. So there's another guy, and in fact, there's a Seinfeld that talks about this guy.
Oh,
because Elaine's like,
all the restaurant workers have big.
Yeah, I think that's the one. And Elaine talks about it's like some Russ Meyer film.
Russ Meyer, that's who I'm thinking about. Yeah.
And
I loved watching you talk your way into that one. That was awesome.
But yeah, Russ Meyer was mainly known for the titties and stuff like that. While Roger Corman,
they got the bigger titties.
Yeah,
that one right there.
Yeah. Give me that magazine there. They got bigger titties in there.
Thank you, Sonny boy. You're a lifesaver.
But Roger Corman, like, while that would be implemented, it wasn't the thing that you came to see. It was, and he had the thing now too that makes him so legendary is that there were people who worked under his production company who have become huge, like James Cameron and Joe Dante and all these guys. learned their craft. Jack Nicholson learned their craft making these movies that nobody would give a shit about. And that's sort of an art that was missing for a while. I think now it's back because anybody can shoot anything if they want. But there's when you learn things like that, when you're just doing movies that don't matter, like quote unquote, they're like not a big, there's not a big financial risk to them. And you just learn how to use the camera and how to deal with actors and a crew and all that. That's a good training for the real world. So that's why I think he
has a big coaching tree.
He does. Boundaries.
I don't have any.
Never seen that. This episode doesn't have any boundaries. But I don't know anything. Amazing cast. Who's in it?
Vera Farmiga, Christopher Plummer, Bobby Cannavale, Kristen Schaal, Peter Fonda, Christopher Lloyd. A lot of good people in this.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. It's about surveying land.
Yes, it is. Brewster McCloud. This is an Altman movie I have not seen. 1970.
Yeah, there's a guy that is living in the basement of the Astrodome or something like that. It's apparently very experimental. Have you seen this?
No, it sounds kind of interesting.
It does sound interesting. That's one that I'll probably get to at some point.
The Chase. This is a 1966 The Chase, not the Charlie Sheen, Christy Swanson The Chase.
Sex in a car at high speeds.
Yes. I don't remember if that one was a remake of this one, though.
No, I don't think so. This is a prison break, and it's Marlon Brando chasing after Robert Redford.
Okay.
This cast is amazing. Marlon Brando, Jane Fonda, Robert Redford, Angie Dickinson,
Jesus,
Robert Duvall. Like this is one that, and it's directed by Arthur Penn. I cannot believe I haven't seen this.
Yeah,
I really want to.
The Duel, Liam Hemsworth movie that I'm guessing is.
Have you seen this?
Why are you looking at me? Because Miley? Because it's because of Miley, isn't it?
I think it's like a hyper stylized Western type of thing where they're dueling with coyotes and stuff like that. And
dueling with coyotes?
That's just what I thought.
How do you get the coyote to walk 10 paces before it turns around?
Some trained coyotes right there.
Yes. Flesh and Bone, a movie I remember coming out I never saw. Meg Ryan, Dennis Quaid, Gwyneth Paltrow. Is this?
It's one of her first movies. If it's not her first,
yeah, I think it is. But you mean Gwyneth Paltrow?
Yeah.
I remember this coming out. I never saw it. Did you see it?
No, I'm confusing it with something with Marion Cotillard, Bone and Rust and Bone.
Oh, yeah.
Winter's Bone.
Yeah.
There's a real movie out there.
No, I think that's right.
No, I've never seen this.
I think Rust and Bone is right. The Getaway, Steve McQueen movie. I have seen this. I've seen both, actually.
I was going to say, you've seen
the second one, yeah.
Yeah. When you watch... I guess this is true for anything where there's a remake it's like 20-something years or whatever, but when you watch a movie like this, the 1972 version, see how different movies are made back in the 70s compared to the 90s. So much difference, and The Getaway, you can see a lot of things just taking its time and everything, whereas, the 94 Getaway, I don't remember much about the 94 Getaway. But the 72 one is good.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Glory Road. Yeah, that's the Josh Lucas.
Yeah.
It's the first all-black college basketball team.
Yeah, they take down Adolph Rupp.
Is it South Carolina or something? Or
Texas.
From Rupp Arena?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
It's the first all-black college basketball team that at some point take on University of Kentucky. It's a real story. Take on University of Kentucky for the championship, and they beat them.
I saw it. I remember liking it.
Yeah,
I like most of these. It's hard to screw up a feel-good sports movie. I'm not often motivated to watch them, but when I do, I usually enjoy most of them.
It's Texas Western, which I don't know if it even exists anymore. But then we have The Great Debaters. Denzel Washington directed this. I haven't seen this. I've seen Antoine Fisher, but I haven't seen The Great Debaters.
Have you seen
that?
Mm-mm. Yeah, I would. I think he should have called it The Master Debaters.
Yeah, they should have.
Hey-o. Or he could have called it The Talkers. Or he could have called it
Talkers.
Winning the Day.
Yes.
Only the brave.
The men who stare at goats. Then we have Holes. This was Shia LaBeouf. Was his first big movie after. What was the show he was on?
Even Steven.
There you go.
Why do I know that?
Was he twins in that, or was he just?
I never watched that fucking shit.
I bet he was. That's funny that none of us have seen that show. He brings up Even Steven, and you're like, did he play twins? I bet he did. Holes, I remember being a good movie.
Yeah, I saw it the once in theaters, and I remember being very surprised by how much I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember watching this going, that Shia kid is going somewhere.
Yeah.
And when the Transformers movie came out, I went to it half for him. And I even think he's good in that movie. But I think Dule Hill's in this. Sigourney Weaver's in this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a prison work camp for kids.
Yeah, well, it's a super popular book, that kid's book.
Yeah.
My kid had to read it in elementary school, I think, and did
wow.
a book report on it. And he kind of liked it.
Huh.
Cannot confirm Dule Hill.
Oh, sorry. I may have pulled that out of my ass.
Oh, there's Dule Hill.
Hey!
Andrew Davis, who directed The Fugitive and Under Siege, directed Holes.
Wow. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah, I would have never guessed. HUD, one of Paul Newman's all-time movies.
This is a great movie, right?
Yes.
I have never seen it, but I hear it's a great movie.
And I've seen it.
It's about housing and urban development.
Yeah, I've seen it, but again, Paul Newman is as good as it gets.
Mm-hmm.
So
this is the one where he eats 50 eggs before he wins the big pool game, right?
Yes. Yes.
Awesome.
The big pool game.
The big pool game.
That's right. And Forrest Whitaker hustles him. But yeah, I remember HUD being good. Jason's Lyric, which I saw recently, a part of this. I saw about 30 minutes came on cable the other day.
It's like Jeremy's Iron.
Yeah, exactly. But I remember it's Jada Pinkett, and there's I didn't see that scene, unfortunately.
It's a guy who wants to do good, and his brother just got out of prison and wants to do bad, and he's kind of torn between lives. I remember watching it because for a hot minute I had like a Jada Pinkett thing.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And
After Matrix?
I think we
I
all
was
did.
glad I watched it. This was
No, wait a
before the
minute.
Matrix.
I did see that scene. I remember now because they go out in the woods. They're out in the woods, like in the middle of nowhere, and they're like, "Hey, let's fuck."
All right.
Yeah.
Hey.
No, you're confusing it with Harvard Man.
Oh, Harvard Man. Yes.
They fuck in the woods in that movie.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The Killer Inside Me. I did see this. Casey Affleck, Jessica Alba, Kate Hudson. Yes, I have seen this movie.
Is it good?
Yeah, it was good. I don't remember much about it. I just remember liking it.
All
Is
right.
it about somebody who realizes they are a murderer, or is it about sex with a murderer?
He actually.
I murdered someone, now I'm going to fuck you with my dick.
It's like Naked and Afraid.
Yes, it
I've got a
is.
killer inside me.
Absolutely. I mean, no, I'm just trying to think, because he's like a cop and he kills people.
Oh.
So it's like a Bad Lieutenant type of movie for Texas, I guess.
All right.
But I remember liking this pretty well, although it's got a 6.1 on IMDb. But it's like this movie, and what was the one that was he was in that we mentioned?
Casey
Anytime-
Affleck?
Ain't Them Bodies
Ain't
Saints.
Them Body Saints. Anytime any one of those two, I get them confused for whatever reason, because Casey Affleck's the common denominator.
I saw what you did there.
Then we have Killer Joe, Matthew McConaughey.
You didn't like it?
No, I like it. It's totally watchable. It just makes me feel skeezy.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, there's nobody in this movie that comes off looking very good.
No. Especially Gina Gershon.
Yeah. I mean, it starts out with, is it Emil Hirsch?
Yep, Emil Hirsch.
It's like, well, we need somebody killed, so we're going to hire this guy, but what he wants in payment is to fuck my sister, so we're just going to let him, and then everything goes off the rails.
And it's got Juno.
Then everything goes off the rails.
It's got Juno Temple in it.
Juno Temple.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah.
Juno Temple, good.
Right.
All right.
All right.
But the only thing I can really remember about this movie is the ending scene in the kitchen or whatever, and it's just so abhorrent. The stuff that happens in that kitchen scene.
Doesn't he like mouth fucker with a chicken leg?
Yes.
Okay.
And he says, and he keeps chanting something to the effect of like, "Oh yeah, you want to suck on that chicken? Oh yeah, suck on that chicken." Blah blah blah.
Like I said, I enjoyed the ride, but it's a fucking
Is it
movie.
McConaughey?
Yes.
Oh, God.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
He's a bad guy.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, and she's an asshole too, but not suck on my chicken worthy.
Oh, God. The shit did I put out of my mind? It's all racing back.
But yeah, this is William Friedkin. He did. He was on a little roll there where he was doing these. I think both of Killer Joe and Bug were both Tracy Letts plays that he adapted. But I most people who saw this movie back in the day told me that they really liked it. And I just I couldn't get beyond that ending.
Yeah, that was rough.
Last Man Standing. I know that Walter Hill directed this. I'm trying to remember if I've seen it though. Bruce Willis.
You've seen this, right?
Yeah, it's one of the yellow orangest movies ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you not seen it? Oh man, this was in this era where post Pulp Fiction, I would probably watch anything Bruce Willis did. This is why I ended up watching bullshit like The Jackal and Mercury Rising. No, this is not good at all. You should just go watch the original Fistful of Dollars and call it a day. 'Cause it's basically that. It's a one big long foreplay to a gun battle, and I'm serious when I say it's the yellow orangest movie I've ever seen.
Is he playing like a man with no name
Yes.
type of dude?
Yes. No, it's literally like a remake.
Really?
An updated, it's like, but it's more like a Al Capone gangster era, but it's still like in a Wild West town.
Okay.
But it's definitely Fistful of Dollars or A Few Dollars, one of those three movies. It's remaking that. And I didn't like it.
Yellow and orange.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if I saw it, but I think I saw parts of it, and I don't think I liked what I saw, so I didn't watch the rest of it. LBJ, did Rob Reiner direct that?
Boy, it sure does sound like it, doesn't it?
I remember us previewing it in one of our like summer fall things, and
Yeah, that was Rob Reiner.
yeah,
Nice pull.
and I didn't see it. I guess
Did you not? Man, I mean, this talk about a good cast. Woody Harrelson is LBJ. Jennifer Jason Leigh is Lady Bird Johnson. Michael Stahl David. Remember that guy. Richard Jenkins, Bill Pullman, Jeffrey Donovan. Like, C. Thomas Howell.
Yeah, of course.
They didn't have to go down and get Jason
They didn't have to get Jason Gedrick.
But I heard good things about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
The Life and Times of Judge Roy Bean, 1972. I haven't seen this. Paul Newman's in it.
Dude, apparently this is fantastic.
Yeah, well, he had pretty good picker.
Holy shit. Man of the House. Tommy Lee Jones. Of course, this came out in 2005.
He's a Texas Ranger or something.
Yes,
isn't
and he has to babysit cheerleaders, essentially.
Are there pretty girls in this?
Yeah, there's pretty
So
good.
it's like A League of Their Own without the baseball?
I mean...
Like he's Tom Hanks in the group.
I don't even think he does. I think they're like... It's like witness protection almost.
Oh. He doesn't say like, there's no crying in sororities.
Yeah.
Man of the House.
Man of the House, keeper of the inn. Yeah, Christina Milian, Kelly Garner,
Christina Milian.
Monica Keena. Yeah, there's some Vanessa Ferlito.
Million. She was like a singer, like a pop star for a second, right?
Yeah.
Like for literally a second.
Yeah.
Stephen Herrick of Mr. Holland's Opus fame directed this.
Oh.
Yeah, Texas Ranger must protect a group of cheerleaders who have witnessed a murder.
All right.
And the movie sucks.
There you go.
Monte Carlo. Selena Gomez.
You seen this one?
No. Oh.
No.
On my watch list. though.
It's a rom-com.
Oh, no, then no. I just watched a movie the other day with her and Ethan Hawke, and I didn't know what the title was.
This one has Nicole Kidman and Leighton Meester. See Thomas Howell.
Is he really?
Actually, no.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And I guess Nicole Kidman isn't in this, but she produced it.
Oh. Okay.
And Michael Giacchino did the score for this.
Well, all right then.
Nocturnal Animals. This movie's fucked up.
Oh my God.
I can't wait to see it. I'm gonna find one of these days. I'm gonna.
Did you see my tweet? I think my tweet was something along the lines of, I just watched Nocturnal Animals and I wish somebody had told me what the fuck I was getting into.
The movie is really fucked up. It's got Amy Adams and Jake Gyllenhaal, And it's got this back and forth reality and like a book that she's reading, and it sort of mixes in because it's based on a true her husband Jake Gyllenhaal has written something about their lives. So like a lot of this stuff is sort of a fictionalized, or would you consider it fictionalized though?
Or dramatic reenactment?
Dramatic reenactment of their already dramatic, whatever. Anyway,
it's dark.
It's a dark movie. And, watching this movie and Arrival that came out the same year, Amy Adams really had some characters that had to make some very similar decisions in this. I thought it was interesting how Nocturnal Animals sort of overlapped on Arrival a little bit. Not the aliens thing, of course, but just some of the family themes that were in these two movies.
I'm not even saying it's bad.
Yeah.
I just wasn't prepared. I had, for some reason, convinced myself it was a drama, and it's fucked up.
Have we? Did anybody? I need to look this up because I still don't understand the point of all the naked fat women at the beginning of the movie. It's all during the opening credits.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And
it's like the monolith in 2001. Don't overthink it. Just there's some naked fat people.
There's some credits coming up, and there's naked fat women.
It's like,
you're just like, okay. This has something to do with the movie I'm about to watch, right? I'm sure there's a metaphor in there somewhere. I completely missed it.
I love the first time in MacGruber where we go to Kunth's lair and he's painting, and there's this really old chubby grandma naked on a stool. Kunth goes, spritz, and some guy comes in with like a water spray bottle and sprays the old lady's boobs to make them sparkle. Oh man,
goodness!
Nobody knows that movie better than you
at this point. No, I don't think so.
Even Will Forte.
I've found two people on Twitter that have watched it because I have raved about it, and they've both loved it. So I'm going to keep talking.
Places in the Heart, which I don't think I've seen. This was Sally Field won her second Oscar for this. This was the "You Love Me, You Really Love Me" Oscar.
Then cut to John Malkovich.
Yes. This also has Ed Harris in it. And it has Lindsay Krause and Amy Madigan and John Malkovich and Danny Glover. But no, I've never seen
Malkovich was in it with her?
Yeah.
I always wondered why they panned over to him.
That must be it.
Oscar thing. Interesting.
Yeah, Robert Benton, who directed Bonnie and Clyde, Kramer versus Kramer, did this.
He only directs movies with two people
in the title.
Yes.
Bonnie versus Clyde.
Yes. Then Primer. Ooh. This movie has gotten a huge cult following over the years, and the movie is cheap as fucking dirt, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's your typical mind-bending, time-traveling movie, although it uses that whatever that uncertainty principle is.
Heisenberg's?
Yeah. Whatever.
Well, there really is a Heisenberg uncertainty principle.
Well, it's a maybe not an uncertainty principle, but there is what is it? I always have to look this up, and I've talked about it like 50 times, and I still can't remember the name of it. It is the Novikov self-consistency principle.
Oh.
Basically saying that if time travel did exist, you wouldn't be able to change anything that's already happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it basically goes on this just super loop, this movie, Primer does. And I remember after I watched it, I've said this before on the podcast, I had to go to Wikipedia and see if someone had mapped it out, what exactly happened in this, because because the audio is hard to hear in this movie, I didn't catch everything that was going on. And it's so like very matter of fact and dense that, like when they're actually, so they go in this machine. So they're essentially now two, like whoever went in the machine, there's also another version of them that's out in the world, and they have to make sure that they don't run into each other and all this, and they have to make sure that so I guess they could change it. Maybe doesn't have this self-consistency principle on it.
Well, what I said about the movie is that after I watched it, I knew I was going to have to watch it 5 more times to understand it. And I have yet to do that, so I can't help you. I don't know what happens in that fucking movie. But
Is it good?
I enjoyed watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's stimulating in the way that, I mean, some movies are a puzzle and they don't want you to solve it, and that's just a big fuck you. But some movies are a puzzle that rewards repeat viewing. I think this is that. I just haven't had the time to.
Yeah.
I don't care that much to watch it 5 times to understand it, but I'm intrigued by time travel anything, and this is on the better end of the spectrum for time travel.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating, even though it goes along. It's a very snail's pace, and you know, the technical quality of it too is hard to get through at times, but it's very. I mean, I would recommend it. Actually,
yeah, I would too.
Yeah, it's just not a movie that you go to seek super thrills from.
Yeah, don't take any pop quizzes about it when you're done.
Yeah,
because you will fail.
Red River. This is another Western that I haven't seen. God, the list of Westerns that I have not seen is embarrassing, probably.
But you've seen all the Westerns.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
It's the same
also, the
thing.
problem is they made so goddamn many of them.
No kidding. This was the last picture show that was featured in the last picture show. It was Red River.
Well,
Also in Texas.
Then there's The Searchers, which is basically considered one of John Ford's all-time
Yeah.
best movies. I've seen this. It's a movie that's sold at this point, though, that I'm like, I guess it was influential for its time. But now when you watch it, it's like, is it this movie? No, it was Stagecoach that I think Steven Spielberg watched on repeat during the making of Jaws.
Right.
interesting.
Yeah.
That was another big John Ford thing. But The Searchers, I think, is on maybe the AFI top 100 somewhere.
Yes. Film AFI's 100 Greatest American Movies.
But I think it's John Wayne, and they're trying to help this prostitute. I think is who it is. It's a prostitute, and I can't remember what they're trying to help her find. The title is obviously the plot. They're searching.
They're searching for Natalie Wood.
Nice.
Are they?
Yeah. His abducted
rescue
niece.
his niece from the Comanches.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could spend more time on The Searchers because it is a movie that is considered one of those all-time greats, but unfortunately, it's a big, huge void. Really, I've seen it, but not the way I should have seen it. Probably.
Meaning with your pants off.
Oh, with my pants off. Slap Her. She's French.
Whoa.
It's possible I've seen this.
Well, I mean, it had a wide release, I think. It's Piper Perabo.
Oh, she's playing 2 roles, isn't she?
She might be, actually.
Maybe that's just a
she
theme.
is. I don't know. She's not.
No, I think I pulled that out of my ass.
Man, I think I did see this.
Slap Her. She's French.
Holy shit, though. I don't remember anything about it.
All right. Well, if Gerard Depardieu's not in it, then what's the point?
Yeah. I don't watch anything French if it doesn't have Gerard Depardieu.
Depardieu.
Agreed.
Stick It.
Oh.
Gymnastics movie.
Seen
I
this.
have seen it too.
I've seen this like 3 times.
Hey, you know what? Don't ever underestimate movies about cheerleaders or gymnastics.
Okay, my first
or volleyball.
whole boy-girl thing was with this gal on the U.S. gymnast team when I was like, I don't know, 12, 13. And so there's a thing there for me. Like,
Your first boy, like your first girlfriend?
no, the first time there was a person on the TV and I was like, oh, I have crush feelings. I want to do the sex things with this person.
I want to do these sex things, right?
Jeff Bridges is in this movie.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
The lead is what? Missy Peregrine?
Missy Peregrine.
She's charming. But it's a typical sports movie.
Well, you should do a double feature with Stick It and Whip It.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there a landing?
Is there a movie called Rub It Down, Oh No?
And then Jason's lyric.
Whip it, stick it, rub it down, oh no!
Well, I tell you, when I first saw Stick It, I got it confused with Fired Up, which is the cheerleading movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I've seen that 1,000 times. And for no good reason whatsoever. Yeah, Stick It.
Stick It!
Yeah. Talk radio.
Oh yeah, good job, good stuff.
Yeah, Talk radio is it's got Eric Bogosian in it, and I talked about this. I don't know, 3-4 months ago, I think.
Yeah, Dick Jeremy recommended it, actually.
A while back.
Well,
we talked about it a couple times.
I I don't know if it was his recommend or mine. I think it was my recommend because I had two movies that directors made that they're not really well known for, and Oliver Stone did this one.
Right.
This was in the middle of his Vietnam and Wall Street and all that stuff, and he did this, very small movie about a talk radio station about a guy who just aggravates a whole bunch of listeners and everything, and ends up, putting his life in danger because of it. But it's really good. Alec Baldwin randomly shows up in this one.
Oliver Stone needs to get back on drugs. He made the good movies on drugs. I mean, I'm not advocating for people to get back on drugs.
You are advocating.
But I'm kind of advocating.
You're advocating Oliver Stone get back on drugs.
Yeah, just Oliver Stone. I'm going to deliver a big mound of cocaine to him tonight.
But talk radio's good. I know Jeremy's seen it a bunch of times.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
It's a good movie. The Thin Blue Line, and this is a great documentary. This is Errol Morris directed this. They made fun of this in Documentary Now.
Oh, that's right.
The one with the so yeah, this is about this murder that happened, and there's a guy who's been wrongfully accused of it, and then they have the real guy who's been accused of a completely different thing, also in prison, but they're relating the story about what happened that night. There's like, there's no way I could be there, and so on. The guy who's innocent is like ridiculoly innocent. Like there's it doesn't make any sense that he's in jail. But like in the Documentary Now thing, Fred Armisen plays that guy, and he's just kind of happy-go-lucky. He's in prison.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and but the other guy, like who sits there and like basically admits to the crime and everything, and the documentary filmmakers at the end are like, so we're going to get you on this too, by the way. Oh, you can't prove that. Well, we recorded everything you said. Yeah. But I can't even remember what they called that one.
I forget.
But yeah, if you like some true crime and maybe not sensationalized true crime. Like there's a lot of that going on with some Netflix shows and everything like that. But this is not a sensationalized documentary. It's a really good recommend highly.
I got to check it out.
The Thin Blue Line, not to be confused.
The Eye Doesn't Lie is the documentary.
Eye Doesn't
now.
Lie.
Yeah.
Okay. Not to be confused with the Thin Red Line, which
I just caught a couple days ago. It's been playing a lot on Stars or something. You sure are right. I remembered that movie very differently than it is. It's like action, and the action is really, really good.
It is.
But then it's talky.
Yeah.
And ponder.
The pacing is really strange.
But yeah, there's the one scene where it's Cusack leading up the hill, and they take out all those like sniper holes and everything. That's fucking amazing.
Well, and the one where it's not Jeremy Davies. It's Adrian Brody and the other guy, like the main guy, are getting chased through the woods from the Viet Cong.
Jim Caviezel.
Jim Caviezel,
yeah. And that scene is thrilling. But then it cuts to Sean Penn pontificating on the nature of man and all that. And then sudden George Clooney.
How much do you think one man can make? What difference can one man make in all this madness?
Fucking Sean Penn. Give me a break.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay,
so I was really looking forward to recommend time.
I am too. Why don't we make the next podcast all recommends and warns and questions?
You can do that. I've built up a huge library of recommends and warns.
I can give you 30 minutes on the movie Upgrade like that.
I saw that you enjoyed that. I got to check that out.
Have you not seen it?
No, not yet.
Upgrade's a ton of fun. Yeah, I saw it in theaters.
It gave me... we'll talk about it next podcast.
Yeah. That's a teaser.
I can't wait to talk about Velvet Buzzsaw.
Oh,
okay.
Me too.
Okay.
Did you see it?
No,
Well,
I'm gonna.
Well, since we're teasing, I can't wait to talk about Exposed, the Keanu Reeves, Ana de Armas movie that I saw.
Those two made another movie.
They're not in any scenes together, but...
Isn't she in that fucking threesome thing?
The Knock Knock.
Knock Knock.
Yeah.
Well, that's crazy.
So that's the reason why I because Knock Knock was so great.
You want to go back to
I
that
was
one.
like, all right, I'm going to watch this one. I definitely want to talk about that movie.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's going to do it for this week. Keep going to SinCast presented by CinemaSins on Facebook, SoundCloud, CinemaSins Twitter, Discord, Reddit. There's a million different ways that you can come and talk to us about this very episode.
That's right.
But I'll do it for this week. It's Chris Atkins and Jeremy Scott and Barrett Sher. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Comment on our episodes on our SoundCloud page. Check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit. And be sure to visit CinemaSins.com.
I finally figured it out. I think I figured it out. The people that truly, truly, truly hate us, they can't abide what they appear to be us having it both ways. That we throw out legit criticism of a movie and stupid jokes and intentionally taking something in the movie wrong, all in the same breath. And I think that they can't abide that we won't pick a lane.
I agree. That's an excellent theory. You can't wrap your head around it.
Yeah.
Well,
because you're used to normal criticism or normal comedy, right?
You notice all these criticisms always come from the old videos too, right?
Yeah.
Like they never get something from like 6 months ago or whatever and say
Except to say that it's too long.
Yeah. I think they saw videos early on and just thought, oh well, this is what they are all the time, every day. It could be what people who used to like us too might have been what they might be referring to when they say your videos used to be good. Now they suck.
I liked it when you did that lap dance thing.
Yeah, because
what was that first lap dance thing? Was that Piper
first
Perabo?
one?
First video.
First one.
Emma
Spider-Man.
Stone.
Oh, was it Emma Stone?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, the Piper Perabo one we had already done like 5 or 6 of those lap dance things, and then in Piper Perabo, like it was or Parabo, actually does one, and so it was like, oh well, this
Looper,
actually has a lap dance. Moving on. I like me some Piper Perabo.
How old do you think she is?
She is 42. No. She's 43, 44. She's
this
older.
Is my favorite game to play.
No, she's a little bit older than me. She's probably 43 now, probably going to be 44 this year.
Is she really?
Mm-hmm.
Christy Swanson.
47 or 48.
Ali Sheedy.
Hold on. I gotta look these up.
You can look up Christy Swanson.
You said 47, 48?
Yeah, I think she was born in 71.
Oh, 69.
69?
But that was close.
Ali Sheedy, I'm going to say is 53.
This is a whole fucking podcast, by the way.
I agree. I'm entertained already.
Man, she's always been a funny looking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're the one saying all the inappropriate stuff today instead of me.
She's kind of funny looking, isn't she?
She's, well, funny haha, or
Not just funny looking.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I know I'm into it.
I need a big mouth from a big dick.
That's right. This is starting to turn into if it's going to be that kind of party, I'm going to stick my dick in the mashed potatoes kind of thing.
I just keep watching that fucking Wanderlust clip of Paul Rudd in the mirror. Like, I'm going to fuck you with my dick.
Yeah. All that the little outtakes at the end. Yeah. My dick. Keep saying stuff like that. I'm going to fuck you with my dick. And then he turns around and like, man, that's so fucking gross.
He goes into some weird places.
Yeah.
I like me some Tim Roth.
I'd fuck him.
Yeah.
I'd fuck him with my dick.
With my big dick.
How old is Tim Roth? Give me his birthday.
It's a little bit more information than I needed, Vincent, but you go right ahead.
Man, I was watching A Few Good Men last night
Mm-hmm.
on AMC, or I think it was AMC.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, that movie is never not engaging.
Mm-hmm.
But it also may be the single best movie to have in your pocket for playing the Kevin Bacon game.
Yeah.
Not only because Kevin Bacon's in it, which is just kind of funny, but you've got high-level A-list stars, Tom Cruise, Demi Moore, Jack Nicholson. You've got your mid-level stars, Kevin Bacon and the like. You've got weird ones like Christopher Guest.
Yeah.
And Noah Wiley. Cuba Gooding Jr. is in here as a witness. it's just every time I watch it, I'm like, oh yeah, all those motherfuckers are in that movie.
You not only have that movie, but you also have Sleepers, and you have Mystic River, and all those.
Yeah.
It's funny though. I was reading. Who was it? What was I reading that said that Kevin Bacon was sort of an arbitrarily picked actor because he's obviously in a lot of big multicast movies or big cast movies, and someone figured out that the actual actor that should be used is Rod Steiger.
That's awesome.
Marketing wise, you're not going to do Rod Steiger, but Rod Steiger apparently has so many connections to so many stars that getting to him is not. I mean, it's still hard. Like, if you still want to try to do Chaplin or somebody like that, that was the thing back in the day when the Kevin Bacon game was big. I'd be like, all right, let's do Charlie Chaplin. And they get it in 3. And you're like, holy shit, Chaplin was in this. And then there's it's not that far.
Is there an algorithm like online that does
probably.
this now?
The University of Bacon at something like North Carolina or something like that.
That takes the fun out of it.
But the game was the game, like actually like figuring this out.
Yeah. The way we always played it was not. We didn't even play Kevin Bacon. We would just throw out 2 actors and see who could get there in the fastest number. We played it like name that tune. I can get there in 3 moves or 5 moves or whatever.
Yeah, that's how it's played. But like in between sessions, I would go and go on the computer and like I would type in some obscure actors. And a lot of times it was surprising how quick you could get to it.
That's awesome.
Did you ever beat the system? Did you ever find anybody that was more than 6 moves?
No, I think it's impossible.
No.
Is it really?
I mean, unless you just go on the far, unless you pick like somebody who's 5 years old now, like you pick that Simpkins kid from Jurassic World, and then you pick somebody from a 1902 film, maybe then. But even then, I just think it's too.
You would have to pick somebody who has no credits other than that one movie, essentially. Right. Even if I don't know.
Yeah, the guy who directed Aragon. But problem is Aragon's cast is amazing, so you can link him pretty easily. I'm working on a new game. I'm working on an idea for a new game about movies, a talkie game like this called Common Denominator. And I got to work out the rules, but the premise would be I throw out 3 movies, or I throw out 2 movies, and the competitors try and guess what the common denominator is that I have chosen that connects those 2. Nobody gets it, we throw out a 3rd movie. Nobody gets it, we throw out a 4th, scoring based on how fast you get it. But it could be everything from movies who have a character whose first name is Kevin to movies directed by the guy who directed Aragon's cousin, or movies based on a Stephen King novella or what have you. But basically, I got to come up with rules for how you set those categories, and then I think there's a game there. You can maybe even play it on the podcast.
Yeah, you could do 2000s era sexist comedies featuring
what
movie
women
stars.
Want, Hitch. probably a dozen more, honestly, at this point.
Yeah. That thing reminds me, because I was thinking of some of the complications that this is why you have to figure out the rules. But like some of the complications that could arise when you say come up with the common denominator, and like there's multiple.
There's more than one, right?
And I remember playing trivia one night, and you remember like they used to always do that countdown clue where the first one was 15, the second was 10, and then the third was 5. And we were really good at that because we had movie people on our table, and like of course everybody else was struggling and just fuck you and your art and history and science. I know movies. But they did this one where it was the name the actor, and then the 15-point one was this actor was in Nobody's Fool, he was in Verdict, and blah blah blah. And I was like, oh, Paul Newman. And I'd neglected the 3rd one because usually on that first clue it's like you get a couple of them, then you pretty much got it. And I flipped in Paul Newman real quick, no problem. I'm like, we got that shit. And then 10-point clue comes up, and it's like, Pulp Fiction and Die Hard and shit. And I was like, where was Bruce Willis in the fucking Verdict? Yeah. And if you go and look at the IMDb, he is an uncredited juror in the Verdict. And I was like, you can't put that as a clue.
That's some bullshit.
Yeah. And I went over to the host, and I was like, I mean, Paul Newman was in 2 of those movies. Bruce Willis was an uncredited juror. He wasn't in that movie.
I saw it once. I think I even talked on the podcast. This is one that I was at halfway through.
But she's kind of like a willing kidnappee.
She is, yeah. And so my friends come home. I'm halfway through. They're like, "What's this about?" And then I tried explaining it, and it was the most ridiculous sentence I've ever said in my life.
He does kidnap her, and then she poses as his wife.
It's kind of like the indie excess package.
Yeah. That's okay to say, right?
I guess today it is.
No, it is.
Back in 2006 or whatever, when did this movie come out? 1999. Back in 1999. Oh, it might have been good then too.
Who knows?
There's a period of time. This is getting cut, but
I love it when something starts like that.
There's no chance this is making up.
I demand more nudity.